Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing, Inc.
The Grenada government withdraws its application for an injunction filed against the trade unions less than 48 hours before its hearing in the High Court. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Monday, November 19th. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Ricardo Roberts. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. In a statement issued late Monday evening, government said the withdrawal of the injunction was intended to facilitate the recommencement of the negotiations between government and the unions. A government spokesman said the administration is confident that goodwill prevail, so there should be no need for an injunction to stop a strike in the essential services. Labour Minister Honourable Peter David had proposed a meeting with trade union leaders for Monday afternoon. The government had on the weekend filed an injunction against plans by the trade unions to bring out workers in the essential services in support for their call for a 25% gratuity. The matter was due to be heard in court Sunday afternoon, but government lawyers asked the judge to have it put off to Wednesday. On Monday, government withdrew the application from the High Court. The Keith Mitchell administration had announced its intention to restore pensions for public sector workers after 35 years. The three unions representing these workers have been demanding a 25% gratuity payment up front. Government negotiators have indicated it could not afford the lump sum without cutting back on other areas. Now, CMC News tried reaching head of the Grenada Trade Union Council, Andrew Lewis, for a comment, but he said he was in a meeting and couldn't provide a comment at this time. Meanwhile, Governor General Dame Cecile Grenade says government is committed to achieving a pension plan that will not have negative effects on future generations. Now, during the delivery of her throne speech on Monday to mark the official opening of a new session of Parliament, Dame Cecile said pension is not just a social imperative but a moral duty which the government takes seriously. She said it is to ensure that retirees can enjoy a comfortable standard of living in their twilight years.
We must balance this commitment with ensuring that decisions taken do not have negative effects on future generations, but are done within the parameters of the Fiscal Responsibility Law.
The Governor General told the joint sitting of Parliament that in order to meet this commitment, the government has established a pension secretariat and has secured the services of a company to conduct an actuarial study to assist in designing an appropriate package based on Grenada's financial situation. And as Governor General Dame Cecile Grenade delivered the traditional throne speech, she indicated that the Keith Mitchell administration is focused on building resilience in an era of climate change. Dame Grenade outlined the priorities of the government, saying urgent and decisive actions are required to make the environment, the people and the local economy more resilient to the increasingly grim and devastating impacts of climate change. She said Grenada, like other small island states, is highly vulnerable to natural hazards and is among those countries at greatest risk to the impacts of climate change, adding that government will be intensifying its efforts in spearheading all activities aimed at making Grenada a climate-resilient country. She said this will include formulating and executing strategic policies and programs that are geared towards protecting the oceanic, marine, coastal and land environments, improving drainage and strengthening disaster preparedness and management systems.
Furthermore, we will continue to impress upon the international community to consider the Caribbean's inherent vulnerabilities when designing policies to graduate small island states from accessing official development assistance. Mr. President, Mr. Speaker, building resilience and reducing vulnerabilities go hand in hand. They are indeed the two defining issues of our time and must be placed high on the national development agenda if the gains achieved in recent years are to be maintained.
Guyana's President David Granger is scheduled to return home on Tuesday from Cuba, where he has been undergoing treatment for cancer. The Guyana Embassy in Cuba said that since his diagnosis with non-Hodgkin lymphoma, the president's medical team has performed a number of medical interventions. And it says Granger has received the first round of chemotherapy treatment and has responded very well. The embassy in a statement said with the president's highly specialized medical care and treatment for nearly 3 weeks and his positive response to the medical interventions and treatment, his medical team of Cuban specialists have given approval for him to return home. It said that Granger will leave Cuba on Tuesday and arrive in Georgetown the evening, but it said the president may be required to return to Havana in a time prescribed by his medical team in order to examine and evaluate the progress of his recovery and to extend his schedule of treatment. Now, Prime Minister Moses Nagamuto informed the Parliament on Monday of the President's soon return.
The President is expected to return tomorrow to Guyana. His doctors will, however, continue to monitor his condition over a period of time to be determined by his physicians. In an earlier statement issued in Havana, the President publicly thanked the President of the Republic of Cuba, the government of Cuba, and the medical staff of CIMIQ for the special care and attention which he has received and for the excellent facilities in which he is being accommodated. On behalf of His Excellency and the government of Guyana, I express sincere gratitude to all Guyanese for their compassion and to members of this National Assembly, private sector and other organizations, heads of Caribbean states and other prime ministers and presidents elsewhere in the world who have sent best wishes for the full and complete recovery of our dear President. Our thoughts are with His Excellency and his family in what is a painful and difficult time.
At least 6 people were killed and several others injured as opposition demonstrators took to the streets of Port-au-Prince in Haiti on Sunday, demanding the resignation of President Jovenel Moïse. The protesters were also demanding a full investigation into the use of the funds under PetroCaribe, the Venezuela oil initiative to assist countries in the region. A spokesman for the National Police of Haiti confirmed that 6 people were killed, 5 others injured, and 20 arrested. But the opposition organizer speaking at a news conference late Sunday said 11 people had been killed, 47 wounded, and 75 arrested. Now, several people took to the streets in the capital as well as in some of the provincial cities, burning tires, paralyzing public transport, and waving black and red flags, and demanding answers also to PetroCaribe. The opposition had called on supporters to stay home on Monday, but Secretary of State for Communication Eddie Jackson Alexis told the population to ignore the opposition advice, adding that the police would be out in their numbers to ensure their safety. And still to come in Caribbean Newsline, a call for the development of a refugee policy in Trinidad and Tobago. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Their history have won the Women's ICC World T20 title.
Barbados, a gift to you. The stars are coming. Hennessy and FAS 7-Star present Hennessy Artistry. Saturday, December 1st, Kensington Oval. Doors open at 7, showtime 9 p.m. Trey Songs. 2 Mile Hill. Luciano. Romaine Virgo. Popcorn. And Shabba Ranks. Hennessy Artistry. Saturday, December 1st. Kensington Oval. The 10th anniversary. Hennessy. Never stop. Never settle. Drink responsibly.
Complete. Can't have a lane of toss and sleep. We couldn't wait to jump in the street. 365 say we don't get the heat.
Former Trade Minister Vasant Bharat is calling on the Keith Rowley-led administration to urgently develop a refugee policy for Trinidad and Tobago. He told local media that the continuous fight of Venezuelan refugees to Trinidad and Tobago and now the plight of 78 imprisoned Cubans seeking refugee status urgently demands an official refugee policy and appropriate humanitarian measures from the Rowley regime. Barrett accused the government of treating the matter with indifference and callousness, even though Trinidad and Tobago is a signatory of the United Nations Refugee Convention of 2000. He claims that the country was not only reprimanded by a UN agency, but it has also repeatedly received negative international media coverage for the poor treatment reportedly meted out to Venezuelans fleeing hardship in their country. He said there is no official asylum system to treat with the overwhelming number of arrivals and believes the matter is to be a critical one and is for what he describes as decisive and effective national leadership. Continuing now in Jamaica, where the executive director of the Economic Council is warning the government against handing out waivers to overseas investors. Senator Auburn Hill says allowing foreign investors to operate for free is counterproductive. We get the details in this TVJ News report.
Jamaica, famous for its extensive list of tax incentives. The incentives are used to secure deals with international investors who are looking to do business at a minimal operating cost. But for the head of the Economic Growth Council, the government should insist that they pay.
No bother with those waivers that you give to investors. If the business is so good, why are you waiving? Why are you taking poor Jamaicans' money? Because when you waive, you're not getting the taxes and give it to rich investors.
Senator Auburn Hill says the government should consider other selling points for investors.
We must train Jamaicans that people come here to invest in this country and don't ask for waivers because we have the best way we can give them, the brightest minds.
According to Investment Promotions Manager at Jampro, Ricardo Durant, the workforce must first have the skills the investors are looking for.
There's more need for technological savvy workers. That is one of the things that we are finding. We need flexibility, but we need persons to understand technology.
Some of the incentives provided by the government are the Omnibus Fiscal Incentives Framework, which provides varying levels of relief from customs import duties, additional stamp duties, and corporate income tax. Companies listed on the Junior Stock Exchange are also exempted from 100% of corporate income tax in the first 5 years of the date of admission and 50% in the following 5 years. And under the Urban Renewal Act, companies that undertake development within designated special development areas will benefit from urban renewal bonds, a 33.3% investment tax credit, and tax-free rental income. They would also be exempt from transfer tax and stamp duties on the improved property.
A former St. Vincent and the Grenadines police officer will be sentenced on December 7 after he was found guilty on 6 counts of having sex with a 12-year-old child 4 years ago. Now, 32-year-old Eugene Noel, who was sentenced to 9 months in jail for attempting to abduct a 15-year-old girl in 2013, is alleged to have committed the latest crimes between January 13 and February 14, 2014. The High Court heard that Eugene was involved in a relationship with the child, a secondary school student who he befriended after meeting her on the street. The prosecution said that on the first encounter, Noel kissed the child on a bus and later gave her a ring and a cellular phone so that he could remain in contact with her. They added that Noel had unprotected sex with her on 3 occasions. Justice Brian Cottle ordered that a social inquiry report be prepared ahead of the December 7 sentencing. Noel was remanded into custody until his sentencing. Back in 2013, the Serious Offence Court jailed Noel for 9 months after finding him guilty of attempting to abduct a 15-year-old girl. As CARICOM nationals move toward renewable energy, a former Prime Minister has urged that any saving resulting from that shift should be used to improve the quality of life of citizens. Mike Imam, former Prime Minister of Aruba, is also calling on the region to acknowledge the fears of stakeholders in the non-renewable energy sector amidst the shift to renewables. He told the opening ceremony of the 6th Caribbean Sustainable Energy Forum taking place in Belize that his island has enjoyed impressive development, increasing from 2,000 to 8,000 the number of hotel rooms and significant growth in its GDP and per capita income. But Imam said while he was proud of the progress, he saw the deficiencies.
However, in that bright light of a new day in which we put our socio-economic model, we also saw its deficiencies. We saw that what is needed is not only 5-star hotels, but also 5-star schools, 5-star neighborhoods, 5-star quality of life, 5-star healthcare, 5-star healthy homes. And it's this gap that we see growing on all our islands, and maybe even in the world. It is reason for much concern about the socio-economic model that most of the Western society have been following over the years.
And ahead in Newsline Sport, a superb last-over performance by West Indies women against England propelled them to the semi-finals of the ICC Women's T20 World Cup. Stay with us. Sport is next.
This hurricane tip comes to you compliments the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency and the Caribbean Media Corporation. Be prepared. Before the hurricane, protect your windows. Permanent shutters are the best protection. A low-cost approach is to put up plywood panels.
On the first episode of Coalition Corner, Building Community Responses.
One of the conversations that you often hear is that We don't have a very strong civil society, a very strong community response.
Hearing from those on the front line of the HIV response.
In every platform, at every stage, wherever the conversation is happening, it is very crucial and important to have somebody living with HIV present.
This is not our issue and you over there. This is everybody's issue.
Don't miss the next Coalition Corner.
West Indies held their nerve to beat England by 4 wickets in a last-over thriller on Sunday evening, topping Group A, securing precious momentum and setting up a blockbuster semi-final against Australia next Thursday. Now, Deandra Dutton made her mark with the ball, grabbing 2 for 21 from her 4 overs as England asked to bat first in the top-of-the-table clash were held to 115 for 8 of the 20 overs.
Nice use of the feet, but it's in the air and caught. A good catch again. The West Indies have been excellent in the field throughout the tournament. Wow, that's a fantastic hit by Amy Jones. It's gone up in the air again. Another opportunity for the West Indies. This time around, the captain takes it.
Nicked and gone. Oh, it's been signalled away. Would you believe it?
Satisfied? Can you go back on field? Kim, there is a clear spike.
Oh, that's straight. And gone. Tammy Beaumont got herself into a real tangle there. Oh, she got across a long way there. And the finger's gone up once again.
And that's the other aspect of this West Indies team that almost gives them an extra bowler. Superb. Given the whiff and dealt with.
Thank you very much, Ebony. Gets it over the line. First 6 of the innings for England. Gets to it on the full and gets it through. Between the gap at extra cover and mid-off. Nicely, hit very nicely. I reckon that'll go all the way. It does. Chipped over mid-wicket. Nicely played. Will the sweeper get round? No, 4 more. Chipped again, and this time taken. Long off gets round, and the partnership has been broken. Would have been wide. Oh, what a grab that is.
And chasing a paltry 116 for victory at the Darren Sammy Cricket Stadium. Now West Indies were left needing just 5 from the final over. And after 2 byes came off the first ball and Shemaine Campbell holed out in the deep off the second, left-hander Kaisia Knight calmly stroked the third ball from seamer Anya Shrubsole to the ropes at point to secure victory. Now, player of the match, Deandra Dutton, set up the runs chase with a robust 46 of 52 deliveries, while Campbell was superb in carving 45 of 42 balls to sustain the tempo of the innings.
And that's what she does best. She gets the ball to come back into the right-handers. Another wicket for Shrubsole, 2 in the over, and yet again coming back into the right-hander. Well, you could do that. That's one way to combat some brilliant bowling up front. It's nicely placed. 2 wide on this occasion from Siva. And it will end the over with West Indies 16 for 2. Oh, just out of the reach. What a fine effort at Sean Fine.
Oh, that's maximum. That is all the way. It's over the advertising boards. Well, I suppose you don't have to worry about the offside option if you keep hitting it over cow corner for 6. That is magnificent.
Lovely shot. Brilliant shot, in fact. The placement was really, really good from Campbell.
Top edge from Dotton. And taken. It's Danny Wyatt. The change has worked for England. She's gone big, she's gone straight, and she's gone all the way. What a strike that is from Campbell. Run hard.
Wyatt can't hold it in. That's another boundary for the West Indies. Oh. Got her. Eccleston has got rid of a very dangerous Natasha McLean. They need one big hit. Jones wants it. She calls for it. Down it goes again. Run out opportunity. Got her. Is she going to finish it in style? No, she's not. Wyatt takes the catch. There it is. Cassia Knight finishes it with a boundary, and the West Indies top the group and will play against Australia.
Former South African wicketkeeper batsman Nick Puthas has been appointed interim head coach of the Windies senior men's squad for the upcoming series against Bangladesh. Now, according to a release by Cricket West Indies, Nick's appointment at the helm takes immediate effect. He was a fielding coach for Sri Lanka in 2016 before being appointed interim head coach for the Zimbabwe and Indian tours the following year. Windies director of cricket Jimmy Adams says having Nick lead the team at this juncture is important for continuity. Now, Puthas, in his response, said he feels honoured to be asked to be the head coach of the West Indies cricket team for the immediate future. He says the Bangladesh series will be a tough challenge which they will look forward to embracing. Puthas will lead the technical team for Bangladesh tour, which consists of 2 tests, 3 ODIs, 3 T20Is. The first test bowls off on November 22nd. And that's the sports. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing, Inc.
What better way to experience true Dominican culture? Join us for Taste of Dominica 2018 from October 19th to November 30th. Experience diversity in Dominica's cuisine, from street food to inspired chef creations to herbal teas and, of course, Dominica's famous bush rums. Taste of Dominica is a culinary delight for all foodies. Collect your passports today and get a chance to win amazing prizes. Visit discoverdominica.com for details.
Again, the major developments of this day: the Grenada government withdraws its application for an injunction filed against the trade unions less than 48 hours before the hearing of its High Court. That's Caribbean Newsline. Have yourselves a wonderful evening.